Yeah, this racetrack's been here a long time, and it's got a storied history and, a lot of great exposure over the years, been on a ton of TV stuff. I've been lucky enough to announce here on several occasions and do top-end interviews here. This racetrack is always a fun place to be, and this is not only a cool local racetrack, but one that's known around the world. And I got to tell you, I know that this racetrack, like you said, is going to get even bigger and badder and better, and I love it. It's what we want to see. We want to see drag strips where people are putting the investment in, and part of that comes down to you guys, the spectators, and all of you racers. Without you guys coming, there is no way for a racetrack to survive, so thank you so much for joining us as Stephen Whiteley pulls in the water in his 69 Camaro, and Joshua Vettel pulls into the water in that Cuda.
Oh, boy, and look at that shot of that all-purple Hemi Cuda. Joshua Vettel laying down the law.
Joshua Vettel with the big, giant burnout. Whiteley went out there and did the burnout, but it kind of shook the tire as it went
a little bit
in out of the water. So we'll see here.
So Stephen Whiteley out of Grand Junction, Colorado. Go ahead.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, if you're in the grandstands, you see one of our security ladies walking by with a whole arm full of T-shirts, tossing T-shirts up to some of you fans, giving them away to some of the kids. Big kudos to the staff for helping us out with that, making sure you guys have some cool Midwest Drag Racing Series apparel. And remember, event T-shirts are on sale and a bunch of other fun apparel here at the racetrack, so enjoy.
Absolutely. So Stephen Whiteley, the 30-year-old, going up against the 35-year-old Joshua Vettel out of Phillips, Nebraska, the Sunrise Racing crew. Coming to every Midwest event this year, they tell me. And Stephen Whiteley, of course, a stalwart. He thinks he has a championship shot this year. He really fancies his chances here at the Midwest Drag Racing Series. As he creeps forward to the line, quarter of the way staged up, waiting for Whiteley to break the pre-stage beams. Oh, Vettel double bulbs him. Here we go. As we see the flyby, Whiteley just leaves him in the dust, pulls the chutes, 368, and that's a heck of a run from Stephen Whiteley.
047 on the tree for Whiteley, runs 368.9, 204 mile an hour, 941 to 60 foot. But look over there in the right lane. Josh Vettel, 065 on the tree, not far behind. 961 at 60, puts him a little bit back there. But that car shook the tires hard, starting at about the 70-foot mark and shook him to about 150 feet. Now, Vettel short-shifted the thing to try and get it to stop shaking the tires, and it was having none of it. Vettel and the crew throwing a bunch at it, but honestly, not quite enough. The truth of the matter is, tire shake that like that 90% of the time comes from not enough power, not too much. So, Vettel getting put on the trailer. Whiteley moving around number 2.
Here we go. Say hello to the guy whose name you know. It's Keith Haney on the left-hand side. On the right-hand side, out of Iberia, Missouri, it's Chris Giuliano. Giuliano is your number 10 qualifier. His previous best, a 3.8-second pass. Haney has been finding his way into the sixes for the last 2 weeks. You're looking at a qualifying time tonight of a 3:68.9.
On the starting line, a combined total of 1,918 cubic inches on the starting line. Both cars powered by 959 cubic inch engines. One Rare Morrison in the right lane. The left, Pat Musey Racing engines for Haney. Both of these nitrous combos are absolutely killer. Now, Haney has been quick, there's no doubt, as he was the number 3 qualifier with a 368.6 at 202. But Giuliano went 3.809 seconds at only 189 miles an hour, as that car only made it to about 600 feet before he lifted off the throttle. If Giuliano can put a run together all the way down the racetrack, Haney may have his hands full.
You see Beamer there? Guiding her husband just a little bit more, gives him the tap. Oh, and look at this, Giuliano double bulbs Haney.
I got to tell you, if there's no rule against it, I'd let him have it. I would.
A little bit of gamesmanship here as we see the green lights and up. Haney seems to be up ahead and across the line. He'll take it 371. Giuliano ran a 3806. That's about as fast as he's run all weekend. But Haney leaves him in the dust by 0.2 of a second. Look at the short numbers. That was decided at the 60-foot.
Yeah, 083 on the tree to a 198 had Giuliano way behind by more than 1/10 of a second at the hit. Haney's car up on the wheelie bar, driving out there on two wheels for a long time. Giuliano right there in that 67 Mustang as well. Honestly, Giuliano was a little quicker than I would have thought to the 330 based on that 60-foot, but to the stripe, Haney owns it 371.3, 201.
And so Keith Haney, one-time champion of the ProMod, but he hasn't returned to the championship circle since 2016. As we get another pair of drivers, guys who fancy their chances this year too. That on the left-hand side is Tony Sandman Williams, and on the right side, that is Mike LeBate.
Both of these guys in 68 model F-body GM cars, the left lane, a 68 Camaro, the right lane, a 68 Firebird. Now, I'm a Camaro guy to the core. I am telling you 68 and 9 Camaros are my favorite. But with that said, I think the 68 Pontiac body is one of the prettiest, sexiest, most badass ProMod bodies on the planet. And I like Mike. Mike qualified number 5 with a 372.3 to Tony Williams 375.0. This is going to be a good run. Now, Tony, the Sandman, has had a little bit of trouble making it down this racetrack consistently, but so has LeBate. So this is really a closer run than you might think from their number 5 and number 8 qualifying positions. Let's see what happens when the tree comes down.
Yeah, absolutely. Already in the first beam is Sandman. We call him Sandman because he hauls sand. And Mike LeBate is going to creep forward in the Angry Bird, and there's the bowl.
Williams right in.
Yeah, he is. He's wasting absolutely no time.
Blower car in the left lane, turbo car in the right. That's why the staging procedure is different. Oh, and look at this. LeBate isn't early, but he's earlier than Williams. Williams' car 3 wheels off the ground, and the Albuquerque, New Mexico native Mike LeBate taking the wind in a pedal fest right there. 061, 990 to 60 foot, not going to win any awards there. 387.6 at 199 takes the win over the Sandman, who was 181 on the tree, 10 to 60 foot, and 5-0 to the 8th mile.
I'm telling you, man, if you watch Mike LeBate's run, when he really just reapplied that pedal, man, he got up, hiked the skirt up a little bit on that front left. He went for a little bit of a ride, but goodness gracious.
Attention in the pits, attention in the pits. Top dragster, you're late. Top dragster, you're late. We're missing 2 of you, and if you don't come, you won't run. Top dragster, to the lanes now. Coming up next, we've got a cool pair. In the right lane, we've got Aaron Wells out of Oklahoma City. He's a local in what I think is the prettiest 67 Mustang ProMod I've ever seen, going up against Brian Lewis in the 41 Willys.
They call that car grumpy because it is. It has a tendency to throw a little fit out on the racetrack every once in a while. But Brian Lewis doesn't do it because it's easy. He does it because it's fun, and he's had a lot of fun in Grumpy, qualifying him number 7 with a 375 and a 374 in successive passes.
Yeah, and these two are arguably the closest on the racetrack with regards to qualifying. Both of them running a 374. Lewis with a 8 and Aaron Wells with a 1. So Aaron Wells on paper 7 thousandths of a second better in qualifying, but will that matter here? We're going to need to see good reaction times by both cars, and both cars are going to have to go A to B and see who makes it to the finish line first.
I see what you did there. As it is time to bump into the beams. Brian Lewis, owner of B&C Trailers. And one of the nicest guys you'll meet in the pits. Hails from Wagoner, Oklahoma. I'd like to thank Bill Lewis as well. Aaron Wells, the proud father of a family of motorsports drivers. He's got 2 juniors. And again, is your 2019 champion. So let's take a look. Lewis has turned the bump and he goes right on in. Here we go. Oh, Aaron Wells shakes the tires hard, and there you go. Brian Lewis with your upset. The number 7 goes over the number 6. Brian Lewis takes it with a 380 and a 5 pass.
047 on the tree to 074 for Wells, but that's where Wells' trouble started. That car hopped completely off the ground. And meanwhile, Lewis went 957 to 60, had his own trouble as the car went to the right. He goes out there, blips the throttle, stands it up on the wheelie bar, and runs a 380 with a 5. That's important because that run, if it had been clean, would probably have been quicker than his qualifying run as he goes 195.77 miles an hour out there. That Wells Motorsports team is not going to be happy about that performance right there. But Brian Lewis making it down the racetrack to take a win here in round number 1.
And so as it looks right now, Stephen Whiteley will face Brian Lewis in the second round of eliminations.
John Stouffer coming up over there in the right lane in awesome CUDA. And Ed Thornton over here in the left lane in that awesome Camaro. Now, I got to say, Ed Thornton, I've been around him racing for a long time. He's from Chino, California. That's in Southern California. What all of you guys might laugh about is that Chino is the home of dairies. It is a dairy town. There are tons of dairy cows in Chino, California, and yet it is right there in the heart of Southern California. So Thornton is the out-of-towner. And he is ready to throw down for sure. Loves the Midwest Drag Racing Series. Got Shane T tuning that thing. But in the right lane, Scotty Palmer is the tuner of John Stouffer's Missouri-based 71 CUDA. And that team doesn't know how to go without having a good time. So they are your number 9 qualifier. Ed Thornton, number 4. Turbo car versus blower car. This one's going to be fun to watch.
Pat Musey Racing Engine, stop sportsmen to the lanes, please. Pat Musey Racing Engine, stop sportsmen to the lanes, please. So as you mentioned, Shane T tunes this wonderful Ed Thornton machine, the 1970 Camaro, owned by Darrell Hubbard. And if you know one thing about Shane T, Shane Tecklenburg, he loves mile per hour. Look at Ed Thornton to lay down the law when it comes to top speed here over John Stouffer. But the name of the game isn't who's going faster across the line, it's who gets there first.
Absolutely. Quick is what matters. Fast is just cool.
And so this brand new car this year of Ed Thornton's will gently ease its way on up to the beams. It goes, there you go.
These two teams have raced each other a lot of respect here. From one lane to the other as Stouffer lights the top bulb. Thornton pre-stages as well.
Here we go, 3/4 away, staged up. Here comes the launch. Double green bulbs, and oh boy, this is going to be right to the wire. 372 for Ed Thornton. Nose ahead in about 1/10 of a second. The 217 miles per hour might be the high mile per hour of the meet.
That is right there for top speed. I think it's about a mile an hour or a little under off, but 068 on the tree for Ed Thornton. He did leave just slightly ahead of John Stouffer, who had a 081. Stouffer was quicker to 60 feet with a 954. The truth of the matter is they were together right there. Top speed of the meet is 2:17.28, which is also what Thornton just ran. They ran identical top speeds right there. That is awesome. Now Stouffer with a great run, only 196 miles an hour, got to the finish line, like you said, just over a 1/10, almost a 1/10 and a half behind Ed Thornton, who's going on to round number 2.
And that's what, we said top speed doesn't matter, but that is what it'll do for you. Is it will close that gap when it gets a chance. It is Old Title on the right-hand side.
Werderhausen in that beautiful 69 Camaro over there in the right lane. Joe Oplosky and the Joe O crew tuning that car. That thing is bad to the bone. This is the old Tim Slavin's car. You can see that it has Slavin's name on the window still. A beautiful car. I mean, literally, this is a stunningly beautiful car to see up close and in person. But Goolsby has got this unbelievably just rad and awesome and tough-looking 57 Chevrolet Bel Air.
Everybody likes a 57 Bel Air. I know you in the stands like a 57 Bel Air, and nothing better than a 57 Bel Air that also happens to be a ProMod. I'm telling you that right now. So you take a camera change over to Mark Tito Werderhausen. That 69 Camaro is really reaching into its cojones, into its junk drawer, and finds a lot of speed over the offseason.
Yeah, Werderhausen is a turbo car, so that thing's going to run big mile an hour. What you're going to see is Goolsby is going to leave the starting line and should have a quicker 60-foot if everything is going right. But honestly, somewhere around half track is when these two should be even if everything went just ideal for both. But we'll have to see what happens. I got to tell you right now, your number 2 qualifier, Werderhausen, that dude is one to watch.
Here we go, 3/4 away, stage up and all the way, double greens, and here we go. Up across the finish line, let's take a look. Oh, Tito Werderhausen with a new high mile per hour, 218 miles per hour, and a 369 in a round 1 victory. Round 2 date with Mike LeBate.
Goolsby was 055 on the tree, 081 for Werderhausen. By the time they got to the 60-foot, that was all Goolsby right there. 956 to 60 foot. He was definitely out. At the 330, their ETs were identical to almost by a thou off. 2.555 for Goolsby and 2.556 for Werderhausen. Like I said, at the 330 is about where they would try and be even. Well, that's what happened. Werderhausen was behind at the 330 just barely, but by the 8th mile had drove around Goolsby because 218 mile an hour is a lot faster than 194.
I'm telling you, man. I was gonna say that's what you get when you get high mile per hour. Is you can close that gap at the top end in a way that you can't in other classes.
In the race for quality, there is no finish line. Jerry Bickle Race Cars is a one-stop chassis shop for drag racing performance parts and race components. For over 50 years, Jerry Bickle Race Cars has been an essential part of racers' plans for building world champion race cars. Our parts department is stocked with every part a racer might need. Log on to jerrybickle.com for more information. We build anything with doors. jerrybickle.com.
Kryptonite Customs, high-impact, high-definition wraps, cars, trucks, SUVs, windows, signs, trailers, boats, buses, racing and commercial, even golf carts. Custom designs, solids, gloss, metallics, textures, even chrome. If you can imagine it, we can wrap it. The premier custom car and truck wrap shop, located in Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. Call us today. Let the transformation begin at Kryptonite Customs.
For more than 25 years, ProCharger has made the most powerful, reliable, and advanced supercharger kits on the market. More than 100 national championships in the last 15 years and thousands of wins at the racetrack, there's only one choice. Best-in-class performance on the street with the broadest product selection available, including 50 state legal systems. ProCharger. Invented, engineered, and built in the USA.
In the
Pilot Atomizer, the only purpose-built drag racing injector on the market. Built and manufactured by racers in the USA. Custom sizing and inlet designs, an all-new website, complete refresh service, and the only rebuildable fuel injector on the market. You get the right injector the first time. See why more champions run our injectors than any other brand at AtomizerFuelComponents.com.
And in the left lane, we are now going to go to Alcohol Funny Car. And in the left lane, our number one qualifier is none other than Steve Markland. Markland got the check just a little bit ago for that number one qualifier. And Whiteley, Jim Whiteley, who won the hardest working crew award, by the way, is over in the right lane.
He was working on the car.
Yeah, I was going to say, he's so busy he couldn't even get up to the starting line. But Whiteley was your number two qualifier out of Grand Junction, Colorado.
Now, this is not the final.
And this is the one and only run that we are doing for the Alcohol Funny Car category. We only had 2 Alcohol Funny Cars show up. So there had been a discussion about doing a 2 out of 3 shootout since these guys were the only 2 that were here. Decided against it to make sure that we are staying on schedule here today.
Okay.
So it is this pair and this pair only for your final in Alcohol Funny Car. Now you saw Steve having some issue out there because that car would not come out of reverse.
And is this going to be the first time that Whiteley finishes ahead of Macklin this weekend? We'll find out right now. There is the launch, and look at the launch from Macklin. Macklin shuts it off and coasts to a surefire victory. And look at Stephen Macklin's crew. They're jumping around. They are so excited. A big old congratulations to the Bountiful Utah team and all there at B&J Transmissions.
Macklin went 082 on the tree. Whiteley went 178, but that's not real accurate. And the reason I say that is that Whiteley's car immediately spun the tires and went into tire smoke and tire shake. And so that reaction time is going to be off because of that tire spin. Whiteley couldn't do anything about it, but Macklin also went out there and his shut off. So it was a coast to the finish line, but Macklin had gone further, goes 447-1 at 114 mile an hour. On paper, that isn't going to be an exciting win, but the reality is the B&J Transmissions team just took home the win in Alcohol Funny Car here at the Summit Racing Equipment Midwest Drag Racing Series